Disney Plus removes autoplay content warnings as Disney scales back DEI efforts.
I don't know what that means.
Any of it?
No.
So you see at the beginning of some of the older Disney movies, there's an unskippable warning that comes up.
Yeah.
It's no longer there.
It's deleted.
It's gone. So the warning used to say, this program includes negative depictions and or mistreatment of people or cultures. These stereotypes were wrong then and are wrong now. Rather than remove this content, we want to acknowledge its harmful impact, learn from it, and spark conversation to create a more inclusive future together. So you can't skip it usually, and that's at the beginning of movies like Dumbo, Peter Pan, Lady and the Tramp, Aristocats, anything with culturally insensitive stereotypes. Dun, dun, dun. Thank you for the demonstration of something that's racially insensitive. So they have deleted that. And instead, if you press play on a movie, it just starts. But to replace it, if you go to details, you'll then see down here, content advisory warning. So instead of all of that it said before, now it just says, this program is presented as originally created and may contain stereotypes or negative depictions. So the warning that was there before went up during 2020 when it was the topic of conversation, Black Lives Matter, etc. And now Trump is scaling back the diversity, equity and inclusion efforts. They're just like following suit. And
Disney is following Trump? Surely not.
Hey, it's the president of the United States. I guess you got to do what he says? Question mark.
What are they gaining from doing that?
Disney has received a lot of negativity and a lot of criticism about their woke agenda in the past few years. And I feel like they're potentially trying to scale that back a little bit and make it less in your face because they don't want to lose even more people than they potentially have. I think some people are criticizing them at the moment for now not really having a backbone. Now Trump is saying that companies need to stop these diversity and inclusion programs. They're just going, okay. And it kind of like weakens them a little bit. They went out on a stand to be like, before you watch this movie, you have to read this about why it's bad. And now they're just going, okay, you don't have to do it anymore. You watch it if you want to watch it. We've put a little warning there. It's up to you, innit?
Do you think that's how it should be?
I think what they did before with the content warning was basically virtue signaling anyway. I don't think it was enough. In front of a movie like Dumbo to say, in this movie, there may be some things that are racially insensitive and culturally bad, and it's wrong. Who is that for? Is it for the kids? Is it for the adults? But either way, in a lot of these movies, it's not 100% clear which bit of this movie is this referring to. It shows you a website, like go to this website to learn more about how stories have impacted society. Visit disney.com/stories matter. If you go to that website, it kind of just shows you what the company's doing now. It doesn't explain anything about why those movies were bad then and bad now. I think if Disney actually genuinely cared about these things, they would be releasing content. They've got a whole streaming channel. Release some documentaries. They don't have to be long. Even if it was like a 2-minute explanation about why it's wrong then, wrong now, but why we've decided to leave it because of the times, put it in a context kind of thing. Or what I would prefer much more, a whole series or a feature-length documentary showing different sides, different opinions. Because at the end of the day, all of these things, it's people's opinions. One person will think it's offensive, someone else will not. So it should be opening up a dialogue about that, not just linking you to a website where it shows, like, look at all these amazing things we do now.
Well, it should be more so like you were saying, like it's why it's offensive, but it should be more like you said, like dialogue. So it should be like why this section can be considered offensive. So it could be like a Jubilee thing where it's like,
oh, the YouTube channel Jubilee.
Yeah, like they're debating like why they put it on this part of the movie. It could be like because some people think that the way that the crows depicted is bad because of and some people are okay with it. Some people think it celebrates music. I don't know, like instead of just being like that before, it's like they were just telling us how to feel.
And I think it links into a lot of the things we've discussed recently on the channel in terms of like what makes a red man red.
Great song.
Peter Pan. It's a bop. The beat is there. People are so quick to just say it's racist, and I'm not saying it's not racist, but I would like you to follow it up with a reason. I think a lot of people just hear something's racist and go, oh, okay, that's racist, without actually having the thought process behind why do you think it's racist, or are you just cancelling it because you've heard someone else say it? Because they're not going into detail. It's the whole thing about Song of the South. Release Song of the South. I'm more interested in releasing something that says why you're not releasing it. Release a documentary about the making of the film. It's actually so interesting. When you were away in China, I actually listened to a 6-part podcast all about Song of the South and the release. People were processing it at the time. So sometimes people were saying like, oh, it was the time in which it was released. No, people were mad at the time, but there's also some people who celebrated at the time. In Song of the South, he was the first black man to ever win an Oscar. Yeah. However, it wasn't actually for Best Actor. It was a separate category they made just for him, basically so that they weren't taking an Oscar away from any of the white actors who were going to win one that year. So there's so many different levels, and it's so interesting, and it's a part of history. Why are we just going, oh, don't worry about that. It's just that was wrong. That was wrong. What was wrong? Oh, yeah, it was wrong. What was wrong?
I think some people are mainly just scared to ruffle any sort of feathers. If a black person said, "Oh, but it's really important that it's there," a white person would go, "Yeah, no, I think it's really important it's there as well." Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Or if a second black person said, "I think it's really important it's not there,"
then the white person will just explode. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, definitely.
No one wants to be like upset anyone, so they're like, yeah, what do you need? What do you want?
Yeah. But we're all individual people. Everyone has different opinions. Or do we have different opinions? Or do we just go with whatever opinion is being fed to us?
The loudest.
From the thought police.
Yeah.
1984, I've started reading it again.
Sound like Trump.
Anyway, what a time we live in. It's interesting. Let us know in the comments. What do you make of all this? Do you think they should have kept the original warning? Do you think this new warning that you have to like click around to find is actually better and more appropriate? Or do you think they should do a lot more? Or do you think they should do a lot less? Or do you think they should just remove these movies completely, shut down Disney Plus and call it a day? Let me know in the comments.